and welcome back to another edition of, that's your opinion, man. Yeah, absolutely. We have a special edition this week here.
It's like a side offshoot.
It is a it's the offshoot of Game of Thrones that they're supposedly making.
Yep.
What's the shittiest? It's that Sheldon TV show, but when he's a kid.
Old Sheldon, new Sheldon,
it's young Sheldon. Young Sheldon. This is the young Sheldon episode of That's Your Opinion, Man.
Yep.
So it's just me, Andrew Shelland here, and I am speaking with
Dennis Nagel over here.
Dennis Nagel. We have been taking kind of a break. Dennis, we haven't had you on the podcast, and we've only done one podcast in like almost a month now.
Yeah, it's been a little while, and I thought I was exiled from the show, but apparently it was just a misunderstanding over some something that happened, and that was unpleasant.
You really shouldn't have whipped your dick out. I mean, that's just not something. I mean, at least have it circumcised. Okay. So.
Well, I mean, it wasn't a sex crime, and I didn't force myself on anyone.
It's only a sex crime if you're turned on. All right.
It's only a crime if they're not turned on.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah, perfect.
Otherwise, it's acceptable.
Otherwise, you're doing a public service.
Yes.
It's a public service.
But it looks like we're just going to come here and just kind of have a conversation from just a basic level of conservative, libertarian, and then just looking at the issues and seeing what's going on.
I have to point out, you said, after I said you whipped out your dick, you just said, yeah, we're just going to come here.
Well, let's just say we came.
We came. We saw, did not conquer. Okay. Perfect. Yeah, so I guess keeping things, not too far off the beaten path, we do have a special beer of the week. It's New Belgium Brewing, which, if I'm not mistaken, is from Belgium. Nope, just joking. I don't know where it's from, actually.
Don't get me started on Belgium, because I have they're one of the few peoples that I think is an acceptable prejudice that I have for.
You have an acceptable prejudice for Belgians?
Yeah. Well, I mean, just as far as how they sort of set the stage for a lot of the different policies and different things that happened that were not so good, that we pretend that didn't happen, and today they get off the hook on it.
Are we talking about the slave trade?
Well, slave trade, and also just their, being the first in Europe to enact a lot of, progressive policies, child labor laws, right to form unions.
Child labor laws are ruining this country.
But at the same time, though, they're giving child labor laws to their citizens, while, like we were talking about slavery, they were raping the Congo. 15 million Africans getting taken out while they're at home saying, hey, we need to expand our rights to our citizens. So my point is them giving rights to their citizens went ahead and made their citizens turn a blind eye to what their government was doing.
I think this was in the 1500s, wasn't it?
I don't know. Well, when was Tarzan in the...
That was 1999, okay? Great year for, what was that guy's name? What was him? He was like in every shitty movie in the early 2000s. What was his name?
Ben Affleck?
No, not Ben Affleck. He was in The Mummy.
Oh, Brendan Fraser. I enjoyed
Brendan Fraser. Okay, I liked him growing up. Did you ever watch Scrubs?
No. I watched some of it. I just remember on Family Guy there was white scrubs and black scrubs.
Okay. All right, there you go. So on Scrubs, Brendan Fraser played Dr. Cox's brother-in-law or something, and he was the best character. He ended up dying. Spoiler alert. So yeah. So I think our main thing, we're no tip of the topic this week. We're gonna talk about this beer first. Fuck me. New Belgium. It's called the Hemperor. This is a beer that the hops are infused with hemp. And brewed at that time, and it's surprisingly delicious. Have you tried it? I need to grab you one.
No, I haven't. Shit. So, but I just want to apologize to anybody that's of Belgium heritage. I don't hold you responsible for what your ancestors did.
So New Belgium, the Hemperor, this is a beer that is actually infused with hemp. and you can actually taste the hemp pretty well.
No, it's pretty good.
I really like this one because I think IPAs are way over hopped, and it really takes off the edge of it. That's one thing I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm such a simple beer drinker that all of that goes over my head, and it's just not as unpleasant as some of them are. So I mean, it's not good. It's decent.
It's okay. I like it. For a summer beer, it's not bad.
It's tolerable.
I'm gonna rate this a 3.5.
Yeah, I'd say it's in the 3 range.
In the 3 range.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right, Dennis. If you like, I'm gonna fucking murder this fucking.
Let it go, man.
All right.
You got it's like anything else. You got to finish the shot without any exactly.
Goosefraba.
Nothing can influence the shot. All
I
right?
brewed beer this week, actually wine, and I didn't clean it up until the next day. And once you get fruit flies in Minnesota, you can't fucking get rid of them.
They come from miles around. I hear that they can smell it.
You literally have to you can't have a single thing out there that they can live on. Like your garbage can, you gotta empty it every night. It's fucking annoying, and that's what I'm gonna do to them. But yeah. So I think you were saying there's how many? So what we're gonna be doing here is we're really gonna debate what we expect to happen in 2020. I think.
Yeah, no, and there's 23 declared candidates, and with
23, yeah.
Yeah, and there's one more still flirting with running, and the media. I think I heard her called a superstar earlier today. She's the only superstar that you've never heard of. Stacey Abrams, we were talking about her a little bit ago. Yeah, the one who, like Beto, they lost their race and suddenly they're catapulted up, based on their defying the Trump agenda or whatnot.
That woman got every break possible in her election, and she lost by 55,000 votes. She's a no,
it's not. Yeah. But I think she wants to play for that vice presidency or some significant role in general,
cabinet position or something. Something to coalesce the party around him.
Yeah.
And by him, I mean we all know
Uncle Joe.
Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Joe Biden's gonna win, and Joe Biden is gonna be the focus of at least my side of this conversation.
Yeah. So she would be the 24th, and just like I heard. Earlier today in describing any candidates yet to get in is they have enough tall white guys. So we won't be seeing any more of those getting in. I can promise you that.
Short white guys?
Yeah, well, okay. It's just the way it is. So like you said, Joe's going to be leading he already is leading the pack.
He is leading the pack.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And, despite, and one thing I heard talked about a little bit, that's not talked about in any type of mainstream circle is we hear the AOCs and the new sort of Democrats coming out, but they're big on Twitter, but how much of an influence do they actually have? Because the Democrats, they're kind of torn between this far left or this moderate, centrist. Yeah, and
basically Republican left.
Well, one's going to get alienated, and I think they're betting on that the Twitter world and that the new crop of far left are not as influential as they think they are.
Well, I think when it comes to the farther left side of the spectrum, the Bernie Sanders, Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, I think that they are throwing out these crazy ideas, and it's when you live in a society like if someone believes that that reparations should be paid, that universal health care, basic income should be a stalwart of the U.S. lifestyle. The people that agree with that are going to shout it the most because they're not going to feel supported in any way.
Yeah.
So they're going to be yelling out. It's like a chicken that fell out of the the nest there. Yeah. It's going to call for some support.
Well, and what did Richard Nixon say too? He said in the primary, run to the extremes, in the general, run to the center.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of what we see happening too.
Totally. This is just going to be a bloodletting of ideas, and then once once the Democratic, once they finally settle on Joe Biden, they will start to center, but they'll have these people that were on the far fringes giving credence to him as well. So they're going to coalesce the base around him. They're going to give everyone their say. They're going to talk it out, and then they're going to come back and settle around Joe Biden because they want nothing more to do than defeat Donald Trump.
And that's kind of the outline, but like we were talking earlier, that it's going to be an obstacle to get there. But Joe Biden is doing a very smart thing in that he's running against his primary contenders, but he's not actively going against them. He's not really even returning their fire.
There's no reason to punch down.
Well, exactly,
right now.
and that's very smart. And that's someone who knows they're in a command lead, and his response to AOC's Green New Deal wasn't exactly to knock it, but like you said, what they're going to do with the other 22 primary contenders, they're going to make them feel listened to, and then they're going to say, okay, we wanted Joe. So Joe kind of said, that's what Joe's going to do. He said, I hear you, but I'm going to give my own New Deal, TBD, to be determined when I'm, what they all say, done gathering all the facts.
I think...
But people are hip to that, though.
Well, I think what is going to happen is... my biggest concern is that during this primary, depending on how much actual focus it gets, if Joe Biden is just going to be the nominee the whole time, he probably won't have to do too much. He won't have to state policy ideas. He won't have to change his ideology in any way because we won't know a lot of it. Yeah. If he continues to be able to kind of just coast to it and then focus on the general election, that's probably what's best, I think, for not only his chances of winning. I also think that's probably what's best for the country, just because no matter what, the only way Joe Biden can go right now is left.
Yeah,
that's the only direction he can go.
Well, and is it going to be disingenuous to those who are already on the left?
Well, I would hope so if he does. But
yeah, well, but see, and like I said to you, in our lifetimes, we've never really seen the left debate itself. We've sort of just, it's like everywhere we look is kind of, it's like media slants to the left, the school system slants to the left. So we've always just had this narrative. Now we're going to see the left sort of dissect its own ideas, and that's what's going to be good for the country. You know what I mean? It's to kind of it's like when the Republicans did it in in 2016.
Yep.
They challenged their own ideas. It wasn't just an echo chamber where the mainstream will echo. You put it out, they echo it back, and then it seems validated. Now you're going to run into a brick wall.
The Democrats really just focused on who was most progressive in the last primaries.
Is that a winning strategy? Because if you want to bring global warming, let's say, guns and more regulations, I think if like in the primary, Bernie, his stance on guns going to hurt him. In the general, I think if you think that guns are a winning issue to be against, you're making a big mistake, because majority of Americans, it's like a bipartisan, biracial. It's an issue that is not as. It's not the media makes it seem like it's like you have to be against guns, and that's what all left, and it's not the way it is. That's a losing issue.
Donald Trump is the only president in recent memory to actually pass gun regulations.
Yeah. Well, again, he's a New York progressive, minded person.
Where was the NRA during that time? I couldn't believe there wasn't a fucking peep about Donald Trump banning literally a specialized holster for a gun. It's a box a gun sits in with a spring in it. There's literally very little between what makes a box or a bump stock and a magazine. They're more or less the same thing. Yeah,
I haven't.
The box with the spring.
And they do a lot of things that don't make sense. I haven't heard about that, but I do know that I consider myself pretty staunch conservative.
Yep.
And I do know that a few of the NRA people that I've talked to, because you always just pay attention, you can see that the NRA isn't exactly this organization that's just got the green light that represent, and it's there and it's perfect. It doesn't. It's an organization that also plays the game, and that is not as for just blanketed gun rights as people think they are. You know what I mean? They betray their members a little bit amount too, but it's like, where do you go?
I'll admit I was really disappointed.
So a lot of NRA members are disappointed in the NRA.
I thought it was stupid. Just like it's an assault on not you can say liberty. You don't need a bump stock to fire a semi-automatic rifle similarly to an automatic rifle. You can do it just by holding it. Takes a little practice, but
these guys are smart. They're engineers. Look at the Las Vegas shooter. They can build their own gun.
The whole idea that you're banning something.
The genie's out of the bag.
Yeah, it's a simple equipment. They can make it if they want to. It's just a ridiculous thing. But I guess going from the Democratic field, I think I would love to just assume that Joe Biden is going to be the front runner. Can we probably both agree on that?
I'm not there to fully assume that, because Kamala Harris isn't running to just up her profile, which, just like the Republicans in 2016, you run for president, next thing you know, you get that label, it ups your profile. So of course that's why they're doing it. But she wants to win. She's a fighter. De Blasio, goofy, he's a fighter. Bernie, we see he fights halfway. But couple of these candidates, they're not there to play around. They do want the nomination. And Joe he's got some weak points. Like I told you, one ism that I believe is one that gets under the radar, but it does affect perception and reality, is ageism. And it's like we said, Trump and Joe, they're close to the same age. However, Joe looks older. Joe just looks like he's a half a second slower, and people they perceive these things, and it adds to their judgment. And even within the Democratic field, if we don't know how the debates are going to go, if he seems to be lacking in any way, it'll be seen like we're lions and we're in the hunt, and we're like, hey, he's not keeping up with the pack.
Well, what I would say,
and plus he's policy-wise, he is not on the progressive page the way they want him to be.
Wait. So you know what I mean? What I would say is I think the fact that he is more stoic in nature.
The perception of stoicness, in my opinion.
Well, a lot of people, they call him Uncle Joe for a reason.
Well, I called him Uncle Joe.
To many
He's very
people,
relatable, right?
Well, to many people, Donald Trump is unhinged.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a person in the world that can say that Donald Trump is presidential in specific terms.
But we know that's an act, though, too. You know what I mean?
We don't know that, though.
I think we do.
I don't know.
I do. I trust
don't know.
people to make up their own minds. It's like...
I think people are looking for a port in the storm, and when they see Joe Biden, they see someone who has a long storied history, who's connected to one of the great Democratic presidents of all time, Barack Obama. Whether or not you agree with him or not, he will go down in history forever. Everyone will know his name.
Oh yeah, he's a president. I mean,
yes.
He's
highly connected. He will have a lot of backers. I feel like
he will.
Him being not needed to, ping pong around. I think he has the ability to be stoic in that way.
Oh, I think, in again, we can agree that perception is all that matters. You know what I mean?
Oh, it is.
And it's like with Joe Biden and Trump, we got like the ultimate perception of an outsider, and then Joe Biden being the ultimate insider. So
one thing that's funny.
It's going to get. Hold on, real quick. It's going to be hard for him to get over the hump of his comments on the crime bill in the 90s. It's going to get hard for him to be able to, not be seen as a corporate Democrat, because it's like on the left they love that word corporate, and he's seen as that. and he's also, just the whole, he likes to be, calling Barack Obama the first clean, articulate black man to run. I mean, that
when did he say that?
Well, he said it during the campaign before he was picked as the vice president.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just it was a comment where you heard, it's like Uncle Joe, you knew what he was getting at, but at the end of the day, it's like Trump. He's got a track record, and for some reason, Trump gets the pass on a lot of things, and maybe Joe will, but I don't think that's going to break him as that old comment or something. But when you add it up,
I think
he does not seem like Uncle Joe for, say if you're from, the far left or the inner city.
Well, I would say it seems like I would say the things that you just described wouldn't take anyone from voting Joe Biden to voting for Trump. I think that would just more or less change people from voting for Joe Biden to just not voting at all.
Which is the same thing, too.
Which is close to the same thing, yep.
Well, and just that the difference in that, like we were talking about, Trump's accomplishments, and, I haven't dove into the bill, but just the criminal justice reform.
He can stand criminal justice.
Biden was on the opposite end of that. You know what I mean?
Especially
getting
during the
told
90s.
by the experts.
Yep.
So
somehow crack, I think.
Well, all of it too, and he said, once you go crack, you don't go back.
Yep.
And this is where we were talking earlier, and how the concept of crack cocaine being a higher charge than just cocaine is, because of the manufacturing and then the crisis involved with what crack brings. Mm-hmm. So, that put a lot of people in jail for extra time and disproportionately affected one area. And like I was telling you, it's, if you listen to the Democrats, they're really putting a lot of emphasis on them trying to get the black vote. Like, it's their biggest constituency. And it's especially, this is why they talk about Stacey Abrams so much, because they really want to court, that vote. So would that stop people from voting for Biden to Trump? That is possible, because if you're viewed as someone who's like, yeah, he got something done, yeah, he's a businessman, it's a lot better than, hey, did that guy's the one who said, went along with the super predators? Because that hurt Hillary.
Well,
and he's right there with her.
That is absolutely a good point.
And he says, I'm the one that crafted the bill.
Well, I would say there was a criminal justice reform bill that went through, I guess, before the Democrats took over. No one's heard anything about it. It's not been talked about.
That's also because it's a Trump accomplishment.
Well, exactly. That's the thing.
I mean?
Is maybe once we get into more of the presidential debates, after the primaries, once we get into the full swing of the 2020 election, and once Donald Trump starts speaking to and really standing on these topics, if he's able to, that's a big thing. Is Donald Trump able to clearly demonstrate to the American people what he's accomplished?
Well, he's already done it, but
he's good at mudslinging. I don't know if he's good at standing on his accomplishments.
Well, it's kind of like, the art of the deal. It's which I haven't read, by the way. That's just came to my head. But it's just when you're making a deal, there's time. It's like you want to. It's like Jordan Peterson says, you got to be a little bit dangerous, to just a little bit unpredictable, so then the other side you can mold them to your will. And it's a type of thing where right now he's done all the heavy lifting. He just needs to land the plane. And you say, is he capable of that? Obviously he is capable of that. Okay. So, and is it an easier...
How so?
Well, he already did it.
How so?
Well, he's president.
Oh, okay. I was thinking more policy-wise while he's been president, but...
What do you mean policy-wise? Is like restricting himself?
Like we've seen Donald Trump use that tactic, North Korea, Iran...
Well, just with the Democrats, talk tough, bring them in and hug it out.
Well...
when the cameras come on,
yes.
You're the calm guy, and everyone's like, you're a radical, Donald, and then he's sitting there, and everyone's looking at him like he's cool and calm. That's a strategy.
But Joe Biden will meet him head on.
Joe Biden's kind of corny, too.
There won't be any hugging.
No, and Joe Biden's kind of corny, and he's got to risk trying to be too cool, because at the end of the day,
I think he has the meme war.
What do you mean?
Donald Trump. I'm sorry. I think Joe Biden has the meme war.
What do you mean?
So you ever see that meme with Joe Biden eating ice cream?
Yeah. With the lady?
No,
like he's super close?
So there was a million Joe Biden ice cream memes, okay? Mm-hmm. Obama won't let me have my ice cream. I'm not happy. I'm sad, you know?
But they're all him kind of being pathetic, though.
He loves ice cream. Well, it was like endearing pathetic a little
but
bit.
It's still like like it's not an alpha. You put a beta next to an alpha, 99% of the time people are going to choose the alpha.
He has a more moral superiority, though.
He has the perception of it, but at the end of the day, does it relate to people's common sense? Because we can make a video right now where the perception is you are more caring. Doesn't mean people are going to buy it. He's already been rejected, time and time again. But if as far as like Trump's antics, we see them as antics. But one thing that we're like his tweeting and his style, but we're living in an echo chamber that
how the world sees us.
Well, sure, but this is the game that they've been playing. Yeah. They've been hardcore sliver sort of nudging and calling people and sort of been bullying for years, and he's standing there fighting. Like it or not, and especially, we talk about they call it the African American vote, let's just say the black vote. Sure. That's more respectable than saying, hey, man, they want to put you all back in chains. People aren't buying all that, dude.
Well, there is especially, at least, I mean, maybe I'm a little tilted
him being
because
tough,
I live here.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm tilted because I live, we live in liberal Minneapolis, St. Paul. But there is, and not that I agree with it, but many people consider Donald Trump to be the most racist, sexist, homophobic person.
And guess what?
Ever.
And guess what? A lot of those people are extreme, and the more they call him extreme, the more they're going to look extreme. 48.
Sure?
It's only common sense. People don't think in those extremes. You know what I mean? It's like someone coming up to you and saying, Obama's going to do this, this, and this. Get out of here.
Those things travel so easily, though. Those
that's like we say Trump is so extreme, and we're not seeing that. It's like this is how the game's played.
Well, I think it's like
the game is played where you throw mud. I mean, and look, take Minnesota, for example. It's as Ronald Reagan, 49 state landslide, right? Minnesota held out.
Yep,
yeah, well, do you know what the presidential election percentage was in 2016?
I think it was 1%.
It was 48 something to 46 something. Yeah. That's close. That's within the margin of error.
Donald Trump brought people
Minnesota.
out of the woodwork. Donald Trump brought people out of the woodwork. But I believe that initial groundswell that was not caught by anybody, no polls, nothing. All these people
because polls are always skewed. It means nothing.
It was more of an answer to Hillary Clinton. It was not a coalescing behind Donald Trump.
I disagree. I think that people did rally behind the personality because we are a cultish personality culture. And sure, Hillary lost it, but did Cruz have enough juice to get past Hillary? I don't know. I think you needed that extra juice.
No.
He needed that extra juice.
Donald Trump's the only person that could have beat Hillary.
Well, let me ask you this. We talked about Trump's accomplishments. Would Cruz have accomplished as much as Trump would? No. I supported Cruz more than I supported Trump up until it was time to support Trump. I don't think Cruz would have been as productive. Why? Because he would have played the game. And see, that's the thing. People are sick of the game. The game's going to continue on and on and on.
Cruz is actually hated for not playing the game.
Well, but see, that's perception a little bit. Yeah. Well, if you mean Cruz is hated for one reason because he stood behind the idea of repealing Obamacare when even everyone campaigned on it, and then when it came down to it, only he filibustered for it because everyone just is just like John McCain. They talked about it. When it came down to it, put the thumbs down. You know what I
Well,
mean?
that was
And
a
you
thumb
want
in
me
the
to
eye.
go?
Yep.
You want me to go ahead and play ball with you? No, sir. You know what I mean?
Can I pose a question?
Yeah, sure.
Why will Donald Trump inevitably win?
Well,
It doesn't have to be specifically to Joe Biden, but yeah.
Well, and here's-
what would cause what over.
Good question.
What will put him over the top?
well, if they don't, if it's either Joe Biden or a far left candidate, that's where I
That's
think
the
it'll
two
come
you
down
got.
to.
Yes, yeah,
Just
yeah.
because who's going to pick something in the middle of the two? There isn't. It's two different flavors right now. You got a choice between the moderate or the spicy. Which one you want?
Yeah.
So, if they go with the far left, they lost. It's before it even starts, they lost.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because the country, we are a center right country. It's
Okay.
period,
But
and that's just fact. It doesn't matter. Trump won like 2,600 counties, and Hillary won 400. You understand? 400 and something.
Yep.
So these cities. Like, we live in this city. This is all a joke. This is make-believe. People get on their Facebook, all their social stuff, and they live a life that's not real because in their life, they're 9 to 5 in it. They're living in a concrete jungle, and there's no logos anywhere. You know what I mean? We know it. You know,
Yeah,
it's just
no, I
is what it
agree.
is.
I agree.
They have
I
no
agree.
connection to
Coming
their
from
food.
someone
They
who-
got no connection to the earth.
coming from someone who grew
Yeah.
up a quarter mile away from a pig farm, and my house smelled like pig shit once a month when they cleared out the barn. Yeah, I know what you mean. And I
That's
agree.
progress, son.
I agree. Honestly, I agree. People are too disconnected from the world. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's if they run the far left candidate, they're going to lose right off the bat. Because I had a customer, guy from Germany, really nice guy, and he said that it was right before the 16. It was right during the election.
Yep.
Because I remember going there after Trump won, and he said that he would have voted for Biden if it was Biden versus Trump. That was 2016. So I've got to look at that in my mind and say, that's something I didn't hear on TV.
But
I heard that from a person. So it's a formidable matchup, and it's the best shot they have. But will that left sit it out?
Regardless of what, forget about Democrats for a second. What specifically about Donald Trump would put him over the top?
Oh, okay.
Besides the how scary the other side is. What about Donald Trump would be inherently,
I didn't vote for Mitt Romney in 2012.
Okay.
So the point of me saying that is because you can't overlook the fact that the people on the left are going to say Joe Biden. So I was a person on the right and said Willard Romney. I'll take a pass on that. Mm-hmm. So. That's just a fact. That's a huge factor. That's like starting the game up 14 points in the Super Bowl. Now what specifically is going to get him elected? What got reelected? It's the same thing that got him elected. Except for he doesn't need to be as spicy this time. He can be. Obviously it works, but he can just come out with a nice bland little soup and he won. He can land the plane. So
I don't think he's capable of doing that though.
Well, sure he is, because he's already been capable of doing that, and in his whole career. And see, that's the kind of I've only read half the Art of the Deal, and I've bought these books before he was president. See, this is 15 years ago when there was no political and Donald Trump intertwined, right? So this is about being a little bit brass, and it's about you're bombastic, then you hug it out. It's the way it's. Look, have you ever seen? Like, I come from Frogtown over there, the Frog Towns.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I lived in Frogtown.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Nice.
No, not nice.
I've seen dudes run game on girls where they kind of rough with them, talk a little crap to them,
Yep.
and then come in and act nice, and they eat it up. And it's the same type of deal where it's manipulation.
I did see.
It's very good negotiating tactics.
I listened to Ice Cube one day, and he said
another terrible human being.
Well, Ice Cube said
O'Shea Jackson, I think you mean.
He's a baller with money, and he don't fucking care at all. That's the American dream to a lot of people, and he's a boss. A lot of people want a boss.
Want to be a boss, yeah.
No, they want a boss.
Oh yeah, well they want the businessman.
Yeah.
This is
Which
what
is kind of what Donald Trump is.
Well, and it's what got Bill Clinton elected because of Ross Perot, right?
Oh, yep.
So people respect the businessman.
George Bush got elected because of
Reagan.
Nader.
Oh yeah, Nader, yeah. Well, and that's the thing; it goes back and forth. And we could see some Howard Schultz, I believe, coming in and playing a little.
We have
little spoiler.
Bill Weld is challenging Trump anyway.
Yeah, but
Bill Weld's a fuck. So.
That can't get past the primary.
He's a fuck.
I predicted Kasich would try to get his little silly ass in there, so we'll see if he does that. But
I'm gonna set the stage really quick, if it's okay with you, for why Joe Biden is going to win the 2020 election, and then if you want to just respond to that.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable with that?
Sure.
So. Hillary Clinton lost, South Carolina, lost Wisconsin, lost
Michigan.
Pennsylvania, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Scranton, Pennsylvania, where Joe Biden is from. The exact clientele that Hillary Clinton was totally unable to identify with. She didn't know what the fuck she was doing in these little, poke-ass towns. Joe Biden grew up there. He can create advocates that look like people in a lot of other places in the country that Hillary Clinton was not able to speak towards.
And didn't they restructure Pennsylvania a little bit so that it favors Democrat?
I'm
because
not sure.
There was some gerrymandering, but they say the Republicans gerrymandered, and then they kind of put it back. So
there's some fuckery on both.
Yeah, they do that with their zoning.
I know Republicans fucked up Wisconsin.
Yeah, they all do that.
Yeah,
it's the game. It's inside politics.
But Joe Biden has a line to these people that Hillary Clinton simply did not. Hillary Clinton can go to the coast and speak just fine. She's comfortable there. That's who she is. Joe Biden doesn't have to worry about the coast. He just has to worry about the center of America. And Pennsylvania, his roots in close to coal country, steel mining, heavy steel mining, blue collar type, jobs. He is so much more comfortable and understands how to speak to those types of people so much better than Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. The only reason why Donald Trump's president is because he took the middle of America. Joe Biden doesn't have to worry about the number of people. He just has to worry about.
Neither did Hillary Clinton either.
Are.
Yeah, she didn't have to worry about the popular vote either.
No, but he just has to worry about where they are, and he can talk to the people in a much more diverse area. Yeah, I think that's.
But I mean, did just to the popular vote thing is New York, and there was 3 million extra votes in. I think California, and 2 million extra in New York, and she only won by like 2.6. So, those two districts did it. But look, nobody denies Joe Biden's. I mean, the guy gives a lot of eulogies. He connects with people.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, though, it's just going to be him versus him, and it's going to come down to a choice. Now, Ohio is a state that's not even in play anymore. It's like Republican solid now. They're not even worried about it. I was reading an article the other day where Democrats aren't even they're not even messing around with Ohio now because of the coalition there. So I think it's a little bit of a stretch to think that 76-year-old Joe Biden is going to be able to say, "Hey, I'm one of you guys," and they're going to say, "Oh yeah," because. And here's the thing too is, Gloria Allred, who I think it was her. They're talking about who was it running in the primary. They were just talking about how they hope women just don't vote for the I forget how she put it, but it was. Yeah. But my point is Trump's an alpha. You're going to put an alpha against a beta, and I think you're going to find women aren't going to be this monolithic thing, and they're going to want the stronger candidate. Why? Hold on, because they have children. They fear for the future, right? So they want it. It's like picking a mate or like a president or like a father. You want a strong figure.
Well, I think
That's just
one
I think
of the big
innate
things-
sort of within a person's natural responses.
Well, I would say is the reason why so many people. I don't think so many people, gravitated towards Donald Trump. I think they just found him kind of on their side. So Hillary Clinton, when she said that 47% of the country are deplorables, when she alienated half the country and totally ignored the middle of the whole country, we were overlooked more or less. And when Donald Trump came by, he basically just came by and said, "Fuck that bitch."
Yeah.
And basically everyone's like, "Yeah, fuck that bitch." I don't think that's going to work this time around, though.
Here's one detail though, is you said Donald Trump brought people out of the woodwork.
He did.
Okay.
He did.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the thing too. This is a small theory, and I think New York and California. I think the popular vote I think is an irrelevant distraction, because we know where it comes from. And we know that it means nothing.
Yeah.
We say
And
popular.
it shouldn't.
Well,
it shouldn't. Yes.
Yeah.
We do not
yeah.
live in a democracy.
Well, let me say this though: New York and California.
Yeah.
I would contend that Trump would be, if it were a popular vote, that Trump could be more at play in those states, because I think so many conservatives, like I'm saying, that I did in 2012, and I think a lot of far left people will do in 2020. When Joe Biden is the nomination,
Yep.
is they feel like there's no point. So it's like a lot of those, I think, centrist, right-leaning people in California are like, this is going to go left, I don't even vote. So I bet you 2 or 3 million people, like it's like Minneapolis. I can't believe Trump came that close with everybody thinking that Hillary was going to win. I think Minnesota is in play for 2020.
And it's never been in play for a very
if
long
Minnesota's in play, the Democrats are in big trouble. I don't care who's at the top of the ticket, because if you're advocating progressivism, which is closet socialism, you're in big trouble, because the demographics show that those traditional people ain't dead yet, and a lot of people don't just buy into these racial lines. Like, the Democrats aren't going to get all Hispanic people because Trump is racist against Mexicans on the wall. They're not going to get blacks because of this.
That works very well, though. Those
Trump
optics are terrible for him.
It seems that way. Trump already from his 2016 got better numbers with Hispanics and blacks than Romney and McCain.
But that was coming off of Obama.
What do you mean? You think they were leaving?
Obama.
They were leaving Obama?
Well, Obama spoke to those demographics so much better than
Oh,
Hillary
sure,
Clinton
yeah.
ever would have.
Oh yeah. But
when I hate to say people vote based on race.
of course they did.
A lot of people did. The reason why Obama got reelected was because he's black.
No president's ever been elected with that weak of an economy. When
Weak
he
of
got
economy,
reelected,
and he had 42% approval rating. I think it might have been even in the 30s.
and
for a lot
Willard
of it.
was a
Yep,
weak candidate. I did not vote for him.
Yep.
That tells you something.
So I've heard that statistic where Donald Trump did better, and he did. And the thing is it all depends on whether or not Donald Trump. I don't know if it's not that he's not capable. If he understands,
He's capable of landing the plane,
well,
sealing the
he,
deal.
Is he capable of understanding the necessity of staying on message?
Of course he is.
He's got one of the he's riding the longest bull market nearly in American history, if not in American history. We have had a bull market for 10 years now, almost 9 years. He is, it's what Bill Clinton say. It's the economy, stupid,
Yeah.
And
Which,
he can say the tax
dude,
breaks kept
that's
us going.
huge. The fact that the economy is doing what he is,
Unemployment rates, yes.
that's enough to get anybody reelected right there.
The only reason why Republicans lost the House in 2018 is because Donald Trump couldn't shut the fuck up about immigration. He didn't talk about the economy. He tried to talk about immigration the whole time, and it totally fucked everything up. I almost thought he wanted to lose the
No.
House.
Well, look, I think the immigration rhetoric works. I do, because
I don't know.
I don't think immigration is just a white versus people of color issue. I think a lot of Hispanic people, I think a lot of black people, just like guns. Guns are a big part of the black community, big part of the Hispanic community.
Yeah.
And to think that if you're Hispanic that you vote because you thought this, it's just not the case.
Well, the thing is illegal immigration
and most
hurts Hispanic
of
and
course
black communities
and
the
poor
most.
white people too.
Yes, but it specifically it's the
uneducated white people. I shouldn't try to lump that like that.
It's being taken as racist though,
so,
and it's very effective in doing that.
That's only if that's dude. It's kind of like they made the dog food. They marketed right.
Yeah.
The owners bought it, except for the dogs ain't eating it. And it's a type of thing.
There's a lot of people eating it.
Sure there is, but we're talking about percentages. You eking off. Do you think Trump has made headway into getting more Hispanic vote and more black vote, or less?
Would you say that, generally speaking, Donald Trump is considered racist?
I think that anyone who thinks that is a little bit extreme in their thinking.
Okay.
I don't think it's a moderate position, no.
I don't either. I don't think it's an informed. I wouldn't say
of course it's not an informed.
I don't think it's an informed position.
Extreme position. If you read it back, I don't think it's an extreme position. I think it's a person who has extreme thinking. They go into their own thinking.
Yeah, well, I think it's an extreme idea. I think there's no evidence that supports it. I just think it's a lot of people regurgitating what they've been told without doing the actual, everyone's saying he's racist, he must be racist.
I think Trump is making inroads with both the Hispanic vote and both the black vote in ways that he did not have in 2016. Those percentages are going to directly, dude, the economy itself. Look, and whoever gets their base more animated usually wins.
Yeah.
And like you said, Obama animated the base like no one is. In our lifetime, no one has ever done. The base is animated right now, and and especially like if even just in the social media world, there's almost an equal. I'd probably say it's like 60-40. Like when you start to, because it sucks that you have to break people in demographics, but there's like 40% of Hispanics are speaking out in favor, and 60% are that's just what we see. So, I'm not saying that the vote's going to break into that, but what I'm saying is people don't want to be told that there's the boogeyman and he's the bad guy. But they're not stupid.
It's so he has the lowest if we want to do it.
Oh yeah,
CNN style, the lowest minority unemployment rate of all time. If
Black,
he's able
Hispanic.
If he's able to stay on these topics, he wins. But he cannot control his own mouth.
Well, and here's the thing: a few minutes ago, I said, "Of course he can," and you say, "Well, that sounds like an opinion because you like him." Well, it's not. The fact
I didn't say that.
No, I said that. Oh, I'm just like devil's advocating myself.
No, I wasn't saying you're just saying your opinion.
No, but it is though. Yeah. So when you say, but what I'm saying is, the fact that he's been here shows that he can, and it's a type of thing where he's been doing deals his whole life, and by the fact that we think, oh man, this is it, this is the one, shows that it's something lacking within ourselves because he's landed the plane his whole career. Now, what could he say that's worse?
Are you talking about the plane for his airline company that went under?
Trump Airlines, Trump Water, Trump Steaks. No, and we don't even begrudge him. Look, now, I mean, he went in the hole. He got money from his dad. Yeah. But at the end of the day, though, you watch Trailer Park Boys once in a while?
I've watched the movies. I haven't watched the show.
I like the show more than the movies.
Oh, really?
But yeah, one thing is, it's like Leahy. He's a drunk, right? But Tyrone says,
his soul.
John Dunsworth, God bless his soul. But
God bless his soul.
But he's drunk, and he's not going. But Tyrone says, hey, get him up on stage, get him talking about the trailer park, and people will see that he loves the trailer park. And there's one thing that you can kind of see, and it's real. Like you've seen that picture, that meme picture of Trump on the motorcycle, right? And it's like Melania in the back, it's American flag, and there was controversy about it because they're like, oh, this and that, but it worked. And that's the difference between Joe Biden's means and Trump's means. You know what I mean? Trump, even when they make fun of Trump, you're laughing with it, not at it. But it's a type of thing where the average person believes Trump loves America. Even with the whole Russia bullshit and this and that, the average person does not think that he...
Well, the Russian thing is bullshit. I think...
Well, and hold on, stop. And I don't mean to cut you off. I just want to say this. So we acknowledge that the left made up a story, tried to manipulate everyone and play games. That's a big news story that's going undercover, going unreported, and the average person knows it.
It's horrible for Democrats.
Of course it's horrible for Democrats.
What role did Joe Biden have in that?
In that one, he didn't have any role in it as far as, see, people punish though.
If Joe Biden is able to... That's why I made.
Let me ask you this question: do you think? Oh yeah.
So the whole reason why I made the point that if Donald Trump stays at the top and doesn't have to punch down at the people, trying to usurp him for the Democratic,
he does it somewhat though.
If he doesn't have to seriously, and he's able to not put hard lines out there and make bold statements and kind of just make moral statements, general idea statements, good feel statements. Him going up against Donald Trump, he would have such a clean slate. Donald Trump would have a hard time getting a grip on him.
It's possible,
because the thing is even though we just talked about the black unemployment rate, the Mexican unemployment rate, Joe Biden can say you're welcome.
Yeah. Well, no, he can't though. Nobody's buying that. Nobody's buying that.
The worst recession, even though we spent billions to get into the nitty gritty of what exactly went right and went wrong during the bailouts, I don't think the general American people will care.
I think nobody's buying that. This is the line that Joe Biden could say thank you. That would fall flat. Well, you're welcome. Thank you. It would fall like this. And let me ask you this though: it would fall flat, and it would fall flat if Obama tried it. It would be crickets in the house. But let me ask you this though: policy.
Yep.
It really comes down to kind of people aren't as stupid as we think we are. What policy is the Democrats talking about that's going to help your life? Give me one. None. They're talking about the same stuff of giving the store away.
National health care.
It didn't work before.
It didn't work because Republicans blocked it.
Yeah, but it didn't. No. It didn't work because Obama knew better than to run with a single payer. Just like he got caught talking to a union in Florida saying, it's we can't get there yet. Yeah. I want single payer. So people are going to see. It's just like the Russia thing. So you're telling me Joe Biden knew Obamacare was going to be a fudge up, and you guys did it, and you caused pain, so then you could be the ones that fix the crisis and finally get your single payer? Because that's what they did.
I don't think it was a fudge up. I love that.
It was a purposeful fudge up. It was a purposeful one.
So what I would say is, and if we can get into the history of it, if you don't care about your economy, you can make a single payer system work. If you don't care about medical advancement, you can make a single payer work. You can shove money into
but people know people don't want to invest in the government. I like E40 song.
They think of it as getting free money from the government.
Those percentages that are that dumb are smaller than you think. The AOC percentages, Democrats.
That's darn near the whole industrialized world, though. We're one of the very only ones that don't have socialized healthcare.
We're also the world's superpower, and we're 330 million people compared to 20 million in Europe and this and this and that.
I would also say we also, just because it really hurt me saying that, we also invest substantially the most in research.
And that's going to go away once you do that.
Many countries benefit from our due diligence and our private companies doing these researches.
No, and
that killed me when I said that.
If you need some stem cell shit, you go to South America and get it. If you want the best healthcare in the world, this is where you're coming to. I just re-listened to a song when I was 13, I bought an album, E40 album, The Hall of Game, right?
Okay.
And there's a song on there called "Things Will Never Change," right? It's a good song, actually. There's no curse words in it, just talking about the way it is. Good song, but
this man listens to that kind of music while wearing a Hank Jr. shirt. Okay, so it's very cultured man here, all right?
And one of the things he says in that song is, what do we need to change about this nation? Need to provide more jobs and better education.
Yep.
And so all the laws ain't going to stop crime. They're not. And it's sort of like laws are just regulations. You understand? So jobs, and the Democrats say there wouldn't be an ISIS if they just had jobs. So what do you do to help depressed areas and do this? The black unemployment rate lowest in history.
Yep.
Provide jobs. When you get down to a basic level, people vote individually. This is why the left was energized in 2018 because of Trump's rhetoric. And like we said, in Minnesota, it was only like less than 2-point victory for Hillary, which is just crazy to me. But when you get down to the 2018 midterms, they were winning by 10-15%. They're right back to those old numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Because the left was animated during that because of the damn rhetoric. You know what I mean? So
there's a pendulum always.
Yeah, it does swing. Yeah. You know what I mean? But coming into it, during that election, I remember seeing more than a few left-wing sites saying, don't just vote your pocketbook. Vote for what's right. Vote for what's moral. You know what I mean? And they're going to hem themselves up when they start doing that. Because they're not the party of morals. I mean, the Republicans better not try to act like they're the party of morals either.
No.
You know what I mean?
Government in and of itself is immoral.
No, yeah, and it's what they say. It's a necessary evil. You know what I mean? At best, because once they
it was founded on the idea of it being a necessary evil.
Well, yeah, but it was also just founded in a way to sort of look when landowning white males were allowed to vote with the other white males.
Yep.
It was the biggest act of democracy in the world. You know what I mean?
Ever in history.
In the history of the world.
What was it? It was who founded the Democrats? That was actually
Andrew Jackson.
Andrew Jackson. Yeah. He wanted that, and it was the most democratic idea ever to be held in history. Funny thing.
Interesting, yeah.
Andrew Jackson founded the Democratic Party.
The father of the modern day Democrats and the Trail of Tears.
Funny enough, he did not believe in democracy in any way.
No, and he
wanted an English style system.
Manifest Destiny.
Yeah, Manifest Destiny.
Yes.
Yep.
No, and it continued on to, that was 1820s, and then when and we've seen how it kind of like Woodrow Wilson was the next big progressive figurehold, you know what I mean? Before, because after him came the Calvin Coolidge and them in the Roaring '20s. Then Hoover fucking crashed it, and then FDR was able to go, let's New Deals, crisis. This is amazing. Clear the national parks.
So
progress is coming.
Well,
run, natives.
Did Republicans crash the economy in 29? I don't know.
Well, no. Do you know that Hoover was a self-described progressive, and he wasn't sort of like a big government guy, but just like these other guys. Only government can do this. Da. Self, labeled, but.
There's things about the central bank and the Federal Reserve, but that's probably a little too much in the weeds there.
But as far as like a policy from today, they're going to have to run from that Green New Deal. They're going to have to run from it fast. And here's the thing:
Joe Biden though specifically?
Well, yeah, he is.
He didn't endorse it.
Well, he ran from it. Yeah, that's what I mean. And him being nice about it and saying, well, I'll have my own plan after I make it. Everyone knows it's bullcrap. And he's really just saying, holy Jesus.
We know based on, a lot of people are just going to consider, and he's probably going to try to make it seem like he's going to be Obama 2.0. more or less. And Obama 2.0 would be environmentally friendly investments.
Let me ask you this.
From the government.
Who's perceived as and it could be right or left. I don't think this is a side of the aisle issue. Mm-hmm. Who's perceived as a stronger leader? A tougher leader, Obama or Trump? I think even the left would say Trump. The whole
thing is Obama said in regards to Syria, Obama said there's a red line, do not cross it.
Beyond that,
chemical
though,
weapons. That totally fucked Obama, though.
Well, beyond that,
like the absolute pussy.
Well, right. He wanted a single payer, yet he knew the country wasn't willing to go that far left, so he played the game.
He actually did Ronald Reagan's plan.
Well, he tried to be Ronald Reagan, and it didn't work. And he didn't do Reagan's plan.
It was a plan.
The mandate?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting into politics where it is, but it isn't.
Well, it's a funny thing because under Ronald Reagan, who was a self-described libertarian,
don't try to take him to your. Hold on.
No. He self-described
libertarian. He was with us, bro.
No, he wasn't. He was with you, but he just self-described libertarian. The best government program is a job for everybody.
Yeah.
It's an independent.
And what's the worst words you're going to hear is we're here from the government and to help.
Yeah, we're here to help. Yeah. I'll tell a quick joke really quick that Ronald Reagan told. This communist goes into an auto dealership and tries to buy a car. He puts the $500 down. That's a deposit on the car. And the dealership guy goes, okay, yep, just come pick it up in a year. And the guy's like, what, a year? Why a year? He's like, that's when we'll have it ready for you. And the guy's like, okay, if it's going to take a year to get my car, is it in the morning or afternoon? And the cashier's like, what's the matter? He's like, well, the plumber's coming in the morning. That's my favorite fucking...
I love that. Well, and that's socialism.
What did the communists use before what did I fucked that up? Okay, we're gonna edit that out. What did the communists use for lighting before candles? Electricity. That's not my joke.
That's a good one. I
love that joke.
Yeah.
I love that shit.
Yeah, no, and look, jobs just don't fall out of thin air. Government doesn't create jobs. And and this is why we see like a dumbing down of our through social media. We see of our whole culture. It's cool to be stupid, or act, the other, and like I was saying, it's like, like with the tougher leader Obama, I have a lot of respect for Barack Obama. I think.
Nah, fuck him.
Well, look, I have a respect for him not only as a man. And I'm not like most who say.
I would say he's a good father.
Well,
probably.
but I can't go down that. If you look at Malia, she was listening to Joey Badass.
Oh, kids do that.
Yeah, but that's your daughter, bro. And my daughter's listening to a self-described street dude. No, not as a young teenager.
My parents knew the shit I did.
I get that.
They would not.
But did you post it on social? What if they did know? Because Obama did know. Let's just say that. And he also said that he's going to teach his daughters values and morals. But if they get pregnant, he doesn't want them punished with a baby. That was, to me, that's like you're a millionaire, bro, and you just advocated abortion to your kids because it might hiccup your daughter's life. I mean, your grandchild, because it could hiccup your daughter's life. It was just too cavalier. So does that? I'm saying he's a. If he was my neighbor, if he was someone that I played poker with, I think he's a good guy. Is he any worse? I think he's probably better than 90% of the people out there. I mean, he's a moral. He's a guy who has good values.
Decently moral person.
Yeah,
decently moral.
I'll say values. I won't use the word morals.
Okay.
But for what he ran as, I mean, look, I'm not trying to be glib here, but off the jump, he did more for transgender rights than he did for, say, rebuilding the neighborhood he came from and made his start in, or even taking up issues. Like, look, we say issues with the black community like it's just a talking point. People are suffering, dude. It's like the like the Catskills up in Kentucky. Oh, the poor people are suffering.
Yeah.
And it's like you can't come from there, say you're going to do something, and then when you get in, do more for transgender people because it was politically expedient.
Well, all he did for transgender was.
But it's the perception, though.
The military, right?
Well, that was dumb in the first place, but also he also did a few other things. His first bill that he signed was the Lilly Ledbetter bill, which was to proactively allow women to sue their former employer for harassment. So all I'm saying, though, is he campaigned on, we're going to do the little guy when he got in there. It's not what he did. And nobody's disillusioned that he did. You know what I mean? Nobody's disillusioned by that. No. Now, but collectively, it's like we're like, you can't go against Obama. So he's great.
I'm worried we're getting off topic.
Well, but what I'm saying, though, is this, Democrats, it carries through. Like you said, Bill Clinton had that speech when Obama was fizzling in 2012, put him back up. So, it did.
We were talking before this, and we were talking about how the people surrounding you can be so integral to you being able to, make it to the finish line and win in a campaign.
Yeah.
And my counter argument to something you'd said was, I had watched Bill Clinton give a speech when Barack Obama officially accepted the nomination for his re-election.
Yep.
And the speech,
he killed it.
He fucking killed it. Regardless of how you feel about Bill Clinton, he can fucking talk.
Right now, if he were to give the speech for Biden, he would kill Biden. It would not put him over the top.
It wouldn't be the same.
It wouldn't. It would be.
No.
It would not be good.
No. Because
isn't that crazy how perception and times change?
Same the guy. Clintons and the Obamas were seen as being enemies, and when Bill Clinton came to such,
but
a
it was
heroic,
he still had that aura to him now.
He's too.
But let me ask you this though:
yeah.
The only thing that's changed is perception. Is Bill Clinton any more shadier or better than what he was before? No. So now it's just a luster.
No.
That's it.
Yeah, he doesn't have the magnetism that he sure once was.
Hillary killed his man. Hillary killed his shine. But I mean, it just is what it is. So Hillary flawed candidate, yes, but Joe Biden, running and look, I don't like demographics, but it's not just the people of color. They've riled women up to saying it's enough. With the old white vanguard, it's enough already.
I don't think the women aspect really is going to matter because Donald Trump, even after everything he weathered with a woman running against him,
and this is why
so well.
And this
with
is
women.
That's my point.
He wouldn't have won the election if it wasn't for women voting for him.
That's my point. Is they're going to stay, and there's nothing holding them to the Democrats in the way that it was. They're going after that coalition because, look, 2012, you know what else killed Romney? Was that congressman or the guy running for the Senate against Claire McCaskill in, I think, West or in Georgia, Aiken, who said women can't get pregnant if they're raped because their body will reject it. Romney did not kick him off of the. I think Trump would have said, "Get out of here," because it's what the people wanted. It was so common sense.
Let me say one thing here.
They lost the seat anyway.
Wait. Donald Trump.
You got to be willing to cut.
Donald Trump kicked. What's that fat bastard from New Jersey?
Chris Christie.
Chris Christie. Donald Trump cut ties with Chris Christie after he let his one of his aides basically take the fall for
the bridge
issue.
Yep.
And Donald Trump more or less said, "Fuck you."
That's politics.
You pussy. Because he let a woman Chris Christie let a woman take the fall for him over a bridge bullshit thing.
Yep.
And Donald Trump basically the reason why I don't see Donald Trump and Chris Christie together is supposedly because Donald Trump took umbrage with Chris Christie being a pussy.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's all talk. And, he's a prosecutor.
Christie's a little bitch.
And it's like anyone who's a prosecutor, it's like a ticket writer.
Yeah.
They like to be let's get them. You know what I mean? It's not like, what's justice? It's like, do I have a case? Can I get a conviction? Is there a ticket here?
Who else are you going to vote for Donald Trump?
Well, there's no one on the... No, I think Joe Biden is he's a respectable person. He's a formidable politician,
Yep.
but his day is over, and he's too weak of a candidate to even consider. So
Okay,
sure,
so you would vote.
if sitting here now, yeah.
Who would you vote for over Donald Trump? Is there a person out there you would
You
vote
know,
for
it would. The only one I would consider is if I seen the head up is Tulsi Gabbard. But
Okay.
look,
What about? I don't know enough about
Well,
her.
but let's
I
just
know
say
Ron
this,
Paul
though.
just
I'm-
endorsed her.
yeah, no, and
just
I've been
endorsed
saying I've been respectful of her for probably about over 3-4 months now.
Okay.
I think she's solid, but she's still flimsy. Now, let me ask you this.
She's a libertarian for conservatives, I hear.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, though, her policies are still silly because right now, look, we're dancing around
I
the
don't
elephant
know
in the room.
jack
Well,
shit
just
about
we're
her.
dancing
I don't
around
know
the
shit
elephant in the
about
room.
her.
Nobody's buying this whole transgender. World's gonna end. Fucking, if you don't elect Democrats, white supremacy's coming back. These are big deals that sit in the center of the room that are not going to seal the deal anymore, and people are sick of that. So it's like if you're even around that, it's not good. So I'll switch and I'll ask you this.
Okay.
All of the 16 candidates from 2016, is there any one of them that you could say, I think they would have done a better job than what Trump has done in 4 years?
Rand Paul.
Rand?
Yeah, he walked right into that one. Of course,
well,
Rand Paul.
but that's also, you're being biased, though. It's the only damn libertarian on the thing.
No, because I do disagree with Rand Paul on several things, but
I'll concede Rand Paul because
Rand Paul.
at the end of the day, I do think that, like, take the penny plan. My gosh, it's such a simple deal. You think the penny plan, it's oversimplified.
My apartment, bitch. All right. What was the penny plan again?
It's just balancing the budget by cutting the penny everywhere. So look I like Rand Paul, and I think he's somebody that could have went in there. What's going on?
He doesn't like the cigarettes.
Oh.
Go in my bathroom.
Oh, well, why don't you go put a skirt on?
Smoking a cigarette. Chris has been listening to this whole thing, by the way. He's been a champ.
So Rand, yeah, he is. He is.
He is.
Once a champ, always a champ.
Exactly.
No, but
Rand Paul would have gotten.
I don't think he would. I won't concede that he would have gotten more done. I think he would have gotten more done than Ted Cruz, because Ted Cruz would have been as easily to obstruct, and the Republicans followed Trump because he bullied the shit out of him.
I think.
You know what I mean?
He had a time there where he was speaking in Donald Trump's ear.
Who,
for a
Cruz?
minute. No. I'm sorry, Rand Paul.
Oh, yeah.
Rand Paul was speaking in Donald Trump's ear for a
But
little
when
bit.
it came time for
was doing
who's going to
good.
control the court, right in the Coliseum, Trump pulled it out and said, "Who's that curly-haired motherfucker on the end?"
I felt bad.
He said, "Look at his curly hair," and it's like he had nothing, and he did hit him.
Rand Paul does such a good job, and he should have done.
He did get beat up by his
Better.
neighbor, though, and I don't like guys who get up. I only like guys who beat up their neighbor.
It was doctor.
No,
Broke
but
his ribs.
no, yeah. Look, Ron Paul, I think, would have been in there getting stuff done. But here's the thing, though, is we don't want to just get stuff done, because getting stuff done, what if it's bad legislation? So, look, I trust.
Well, I think the thing
who do
was
I would look. I would have went Trump, Cruz, Rand, and that's just that was my assessment of it. But the Cruz and Rand were like a flip coin to me.
Cruz is such a rat fuck.
Well, I mean.
You don't disagree.
Well, look, I would say
looks-
he's got like a little weaseliness about his little nasaliness.
I've seen
and
several candid interviews, which changed my perspective of him. I kind of like Cruz now, but during that campaign, he looked like such a rat fuck.
It was a hard campaign.
He should have. When Donald Trump went after his wife, he should have walked over and punched him in the face.
He could have.
He fucking should have. Don't care about you fucking sock that asshole in the face.
Yeah.
You talk about your fucking wife. How do you fuck her after that? You don't.
Well, we're gonna
shit.
edit that. No, but
we're
look,
not. We're not.
But look,
It's
though,
in there.
I think it's war, brother. I think that's war. He went where he needed to go. I think
He didn't
Cruz did a
fight the
good
war,
job.
though. He didn't fight the war.
I'm talking about Trump.
Trump.
But look,
Trump.
what Cruz did to Carson in Iowa was dirty. What he did was basically sent out information because Carson was going to win. He was going to win Iowa.
Xanax and
and
sleeping pills.
He was looking good in Iowa, and they sent out the Cruz campaign sent out this flyer. He's dropping out, and it did impact the vote, and Cruz came up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
so
remember that.
it was a shady deal, but again, this is politics. They loosen lug nuts off. They don't care. I mean, this is people die. You know what I mean? Or they will assassinate their character.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, absolutely.
And
but
if we think
is when Cruz buckled when Donald Trump went after his wife, he should not even cared about the election.
But that happened after this. What killed Cruz is one thing. He lost. I think it was during the it's like the second or third wave of primary, second wave, the Christian vote down in that Bible Belt.
Yeah.
Trump took the white Christian vote, and once Cruz lost that, he was not coming back from it.
He was screwed.
But if Cruz would have won that, I think because he came down with Donald to the end. You see, so
it was
that's what killed Cruz. But it's what Christians trust Trump. You know what I mean? And because this whole notion
I think Christians picked the lesser of two evils.
They picked the fighter, is what they did.
I think they picked the lesser of two evils, the person that would try to change their understanding of life. More.
That was Cruz then, because I believe Cruz is a basic traditional Christian.
But Cruz was heavily behind Donald Trump, and Cruz
not in that
wasn't
time
seen as being able to beat Hillary Clinton.
I think he was viable at that point. He came in second to Trump in those Bible Belt states.
Close.
People chose Trump, and this is what I'm saying about even this new election. They chose him because these are the choices, and it's alpha versus beta. The beta is gonna lose, and it's like what I'm saying to you right now. Who besides? So Rand Paul.
We're gonna wrap this up really quick soon, but go ahead, ask your question.
So
this will be the last question.
He dominated the 2016 field.
Republican 2016 field.
Yeah.
Yep.
But in the 08 field, Obama came out of nowhere, and so Hillary's like a Biden now. And there's a lot of people that ran in that 08 too. So is there an Obama in the field now? I don't think there is.
But like for Democrats?
Yeah. Is there someone in the wings like Obama came up on Hillary that can come up on Biden? I don't think so. I think the best shot they have is Kamala. Kamala, she's a fighter, and she's going to rise up to that second or third tier.
She's two left.
Brother.
Two left.
But you just got done saying they want the left, so especially in the primary, that can overtake the moderate candidate.
I don't think, because Joe Biden has such a
He's a historic loser, though. He had to drop out in '89 because of plagiarism.
No one cares about 89. They care about the Obama presidency.
I think you're putting way too much in the Obama presidency. I think the far left views him as weak.
You know what? I guess we'll find out.
Well, you know what I think? That's just your opinion, man.
All right. Well, we very much welcome, appreciate you guys entering this world here. That was a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and it's going to continue for about the next hour.
Yeah.
After
we fucking close this up.
Then we're going to finally be able to be honest.
I've been, I honestly thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. I don't think I'll really have to edit it at all.
No, and I think we planned on going on, an array of topics and tying it all in, but there was so much of a rich sort of the good conversation to be had.
I played a lot of devil's advocacy. Obviously, I thought it was a good conversation. Honestly, I thought it was good on both sides.
No, and here's the thing too: is I don't consider myself an extremist in my thinking, and I don't think you are either, or as being too biased to one side.
I mean, he kept Nazi saluting the whole time. I don't know why he'd do that, but that's all right.
Take it back right now.
I'm just joking.
But, just a good assessment, because, this is where we are, and the election's coming up, and this is still the free world, and you got to vote, and you're a free man or a free woman, and you're able to make up your own mind.
Honestly, let us know. Shoot us an email. Put something in the comments there. Send us a message on Facebook. Did you enjoy this? This is not going to go away for at least a year and a half here, so... it'll be a fun time. Maybe we start talking about some Democratic candidates here soon.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, give us a like, give us a subscribe. If you are listening to this now, fuck you, and give us a fucking like, you pieces of shit. This is not free. It takes work. Fucking give us a like.
He's just being honest, folks. You could ask him to sugarcoat that, but I think he was being honest.
Here, Chris, come on. Chris has been playing PUBG
to wrap up the show
night.
here.
Give us a little wrap up here. All right.
He's Joe Rogan's Jamie. Get over here.
Exactly. Yes. Are you wearing pants right now? Almost. He's a little camera shy. All right. Well, thank you. You guys have a great night, day, morning. Good luck at work. Whenever the fuck you're listening to this, we will be back here soon.
And I was going to say, hopefully next time we'll be have some sponsors, and we'll be able to tell you about Boll & Branch sheets and how good they are.
Exactly. There you go.
You're not eating hog meat.
This has been another episode of...
Well...
That's your opinion, man.
They're much too big to try to